What is up, guys? So we're going to be going through all of the collectibles in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Now we're going to start off with, we have a lot of reading to do today, so if you don't want to hear me read things out, well, you probably do if you clicked on this video, but if you don't want to hear me read things out, this might not be the video for you. Anyway, so the first one we've got is Volcanic Eruption, 21,300 BC, that's ages ago. The Aurora Archipelago is located at the edge of a ring of fire that circles the Pacific Ocean. The ring of fire refers to a chain of volcanoes and seismic areas created by the collision of moving oceanic and continental tectonic plates. Some islands of Aurora, like Golem Island and Darkwood Island, have volcanic origins. They are the surfacing part of volcanoes that emerged from the ocean floor thousands of years ago. Granted, these volcanic islands tower hundreds of meters above the sea, but no one needs to imagine the submerged 2,000 meters of these giants. Volcanic activity on Aurora is explosive and very hazardous. A single eruption often translates to a massive explosion and blasts the volcano's whole top in the air, exposing its volcanic chamber. Consequently, Lake Catherine on Darkwood Island is a caldera, a volcanic chamber, last remnant of a monumental explosion that happened in 21,300 BC. The explosion spurt more than 200 cubic kilometers of ash and melted rocks into the atmosphere before the volcano collapsed on itself, forming the lake. It's thought to be the biggest known volcanic explosions. As a comparison, the Mount Vesuvius that buried Pompeii ejected 3 cubic kilometers of pyroclastic material. This vestige represents the leg of Moa that fell victim to the pyroclastic cloud and was petrified. The volcanic hazard is known by Skell Tech. The active volcano on Golem Island is therefore closely monitored by the Natural Hazards Control. In case of a risk of massive explosion, it can order the evacuation of the archipelago's population to Auroran survival shelters built deep into Good Hope Mountain. Excerpt of Aurora's guide published by Skell Foundation about the origins of the archipelago. Okay, so we kind of already worked out it was a volcano, because there's an active volcano on Golem Island, so that one wasn't too much of a surprise. We've got Kings of the Forest next. The oldest traces of human presence on Aurora date back to 500 BC. Unlike the other people of the South Pacific, these first inhabitants came from the east, from Central or South America, and not from Polynesia. I don't actually know what Polynesia is. It might be fictional, I'm not certain. In addition to undeniable navigational talents, this people mastered agriculture, hunting, fishing with a technology based on wood and stone. No metal vestige was found in their remnants. Rare traces of writing have been discovered, but it seems that they are external input. After centuries of presence, this civilization seems to have precipitately abandoned Aurora during the 16th century. The reason for this flight seems to be a volcanic eruption. Since then, this mysterious people seem to have discovered into the depths of the Pacific. Were they engulfed at sea by the tsunami caused by the volcanic eruption, or were they diluted among other populations, or have they discovered a land still unknown to this day? It's a bit unrealistic, so if you have a satellite there'd be undiscovered land, but anyway. The knowledge brought by the current archaeology on this people also benefits from the contribution of the discovery of survivors in 1845. 100 or so individuals discovered living hidden in the thick forests of Darkwood Island. Their language differentiated well from those of Polynesia. They claimed that their ancestors had come from the east, from an endless land. Then their people had abandoned the archipelago because of the anchor of the earth. Only a few families remained on Aurora, those who watched over the memory of the ancestors in their sanctuaries. In a few generations, these survivors were integrated into the population of Aurora. Their language was lost, as well as most of their customs. Only a few families kept bits of the old tradition, such as the ancestral name of their people, the Kings of the Forest. This term, Kings of the Forest, designated large felines, a recurring theme in their pictorial representation, but absent in the fauna of Aurora and islands of the Pacific. The King of the Forest is thought to be a jaguar, omnipresent in pre-Columbian civilizations. It would seem, therefore, that these people had come from Central or South America. The Kings of the Forest civilization lived for 200 years in Aurora. Many ruins remain in their presence: villages, harbours, forts, cemeteries, sanctuaries. Today they are commonly referred to as the Ancients. Excerpt from Aurora's guide, published by the Skell Foundation, Chapter 2, The First People. Okay, next one, Captain Cook. In 1773, when Captain Cook on his second voyage discovered Aurora, he found an empty, uninhabited land, but dotted with ruins and remains. The Polynesians accompanied Cook knew this archipelago they called Aurora, a land cursed in their eyes and prohibited. According to them, the people who lived here came a long time ago from the rising sun. These people would have abandoned the archipelago a century ago, or would have embarked on their long I don't know how to say that, pirogues. I would have headed for an unknown destination. The ocean would have then engulfed them. During the exploration of the archipelago, Captain Cook discovered the ruins of an abandoned Spanish fortress. The fort seemed to have been stormed and its garrison massacred. Was this destruction done by the ancient people who lived on Aroa? Westerners had in the past already trod on this land, but the discovery had sunk into oblivion, or had they voluntarily forgotten this archipelago? Captain Cook's navigation continued for another 2 years before reaching England, where he was honoured by the Royal Society, which had financed his trip. The passage of Cook on Aroa left the name of 2 channels, Resolution Channel and Adventure Channel, as well as the name of Gollum Island. At that time, the cone of this volcano evoked the massive silhouette of a golem, and 2 lava flows concluded into 2 gigantic arms, except for Moreau's guide published by Skell Foundation's chapter Western Explorers. Okay, next one. Traders and adventurers. Captain Cook's discovery of Aroa was followed by the arrival of many adventurers in search of a quick fortune. The increased demand for seal skins from Europe brought a large number of hunters to Aroa. At that time, seal colonies were plentiful. European hunters carried out a real extermination of the seal colonies. Traces of seal hunting is to be found in the Seal Islands and Channel areas. That seems like a cop-out from rendering seals into the game. There is actually not that many animals in the game. It'd be nice to have some like aquatic ones or something. Then we've got the La Perouse expedition. Captain Cook's travels were emulated by European enthusiasts. In 1785, Juan Francis de La Perouse commanded 2 frigates, the Boussole and Astrolabe, on a mission ordered by Louis the 16th, I think that is, to explore the Pacific Island. After rounding Cape Horn, La Perouse sailed for 2 years, exploring Canada, Siberia, the Chinese Sea, Formosa, Pacao, the Philippines, and other shores. I don't recognise Formosa and Macau. I don't know if those are fiction or real. His journeys also led to Aroa. While returning, a hurricane hit the expedition, and the 2 frigates wrecked on a Pacific island, sextant from the Astrolabe frigate. Okay, next one. 1803, the whalers. The Southern Ocean is full of plankton and krill. Thus, the cold waters of southern Aroa shelters a large population of whalers. At the beginning of the 19th century, whaling ships prowled around Aroa until the discovery of gold veins. Whaling was Aroa's main source of revenue. Lively ports and factories were built on the western coast of Maganui on the Windy Islands, thus extending the hunting season for months. Intensive hunting eventually led to the disappearance of whales from this region. The lack of prey, the whalers on Aroa left Aroa near the end of the century. Abandoned ports and factories may still be visited in the Wild Coast, Whalers Bay and Windy Island regions. The people here, they're just like killing so many animals, they will disappear. It's a bit sad. Aroa Company. In the 19th century, few Europeans were willing to make a long, uncertain journey to live in the islands of Aroa. In 1837, investors created the Aroa Company to boost the population. This private company covered travel costs for any who wished to settle on these distant islands. Settlers came in large numbers, many of them Scottish, and chose the most fertile regions of Aroa to farm and breed sheep. The regions of New Stirling and New Argyll, as known by their settlers, have many vestiges of this period. In 1860, a farmer discovered gold nuggets while ploughing his fields. The news spread quickly for Aroa. The gold rush had begun. Settlers abandoned their plots of land to pursue a career as prospectors. From neighbouring New Zealand, Australia, California, and Europe, thousands of people came to seek their fortune in Aroa. The Aroa Gold Company was created in 1862 by the governor of Aroa to manage a good operation of the concessions entrusted to the prospectors. In just a few years, the Aroa Gold Company had became the first economic activity of the archipelago, far ahead of the settlers' agricultural production. Many remnants of this gold rush remain in the Silent Mountain Restricted Area 01 and Good Hope Mountain provinces, so named by prospectors because of their high hopes for the future. Lucky hikers can still discover tools from this period, such as the pan used to sort gold from gravel. Depleted veins, well, that's not got any information, but it's probably from the gold thingy. World War II. In December 1941, the Pacific Ocean became a new battlefield of the Second World War. Japan had just attacked American base of Pearl Harbor. As early as 1942, Japanese forces advanced through New Guinea and Solomon Islands, threatened Australia directly. The United Kingdom, struggling in Europe and Egypt, was unable to defend it. It was the United States that took responsibility for stopping the Japanese advance towards the South Pacific. This battle in the South Pacific was long and difficult, and enormous resources were devoted to it. American forces built many land, sea and air bases to support their efforts. The Aurora Archipelago was chosen to host several of these bases. These military bases were built in the Fen Bog, Channels and Seal Islands provinces. Their main role was to support the logistical efforts of the Navy and aviation forces. No fighting took place in the archipelago, except for a few air raids and a kamikaze commando raid against the airfield. In 1945, the military population exceeded the civilian population of the archipelago, 21,000 for 16,000. Once the war was over, the number of sailors at these bases was reduced to a few hundred. These remnants of the Second World War have largely disappeared, buried by the climate, overtaken by vegetation, and built over by the construction of Cold War hideouts. Only a few aircraft relics remain. Okay, Cold War. By 1948, it was clear the USSR and USA, the allies who helped win World War II, had now become bitter rivals. Their fight for global dominance would continue for decades. During this period, the Pacific Ocean became an essential front for the Cold War. The USSR built a new war fleet aimed at competing with the United States for control of the seas. The Pentagon decided to counter the perceived threat. As the USSR increased its nuclear capabilities, US military bases were established outside of the reach of Russian bombers, already having infrastructure inherited from the Second World War. The Aurora Archipelago was chosen to house one of these new major bases aimed at blocking Russia's expansions into the Pacific. What is next? Sorry. By the way, I'm not completely certain if I'm feeding off my microphone or my webcam, so I will want to check that off. If I just give that a quick check. No, I think it's the microphone. We're all good. I was just checking quickly. Anyway, 99-year lease. In 1948, the Pentagon decided to build one of its major bases on the Aurora Archipelago to block Russian expansion into the Pacific. Since the end of the Second World War, the archipelago's population had fallen to less than 10,000 inhabitants. With the gold mines abandoned and the whales and seals exterminating the region, only agriculture remained in this archipelago, located 2,000 kilometers from any land. Aurora's small population checked one of the Pentagon's selection criteria. In order to combat espionage, it was preferable to settle on islands without civilians, therefore locals would have to be expelled, an operation that seemed impossible with large populations. In 1949, talks with the British government began. In 1953, those negotiation treaties were closed. The British Crown sold to the USA a renewable 99-year lease for the exclusive use of Aurora Archipelago for military purposes. Resident Exode. In 1954, following the British government's lease of Aurora, the Pentagon ordered the expulsion of the civilian population. The evictions were accompanied by substantial compensation, purchases at a high price of the property and land owned on Aurora, payment of travel and relocation costs in England or USA. Many of the last 9,000 inhabitants of the archipelago accepted these conditions, abandoned their native islands. At the end of 1954, the last inhabitants hiding in the jungle of Darkwood Island was captured and expelled. After 5 years, the Pentagon had transformed the old base into state-of-the-art facilities. Many villages were razed to accommodate new settlements. Today, few remnants of those old towns still remain. Nuclear weapons. Since 1965, the Aurora Archipelago had become a gigantic US military base. A 1953 agreement with the United Kingdom forbade nuclear weapons on Aurora, but they were secretly stored in underground shelters. The Pentagon relied on the absence of any civilian or military surveillance to keep the weapons secret. However, spies working for the Warsaw Pact managed to infiltrate the base, and the information was made public. A crisis broke out between the USA and the UK. The Aurora nuclear bomb crisis ended in 1984, and the Pentagon promised to remove the bombs and not store them there in the future. The departure of the nuclear weapons were filmed and broadcasted, but some continued to claim that not all of them had left Aurora. Operation Harpoon. During the Cold War, American military bases were the focus of attention of Eastern Bloc spies. Based on isolated Pacific islands were typically inaccessible. In 1980, a secret program called Harpoon was launched in Moscow. Its goal was to insert spies on these islands and keep them in place for years if necessary. After 2 years of strenuous training, a handful of agents were selected, inserted on the islands and given a stockpile of rations. After 6 months, a submarine was scheduled to replenish the supplies. On Aurora, they succeeded in identifying and photographing delivery of nuclear bombs on airbase. This information, once released, caused a crisis with the British government in 1984. This information proved that the spies were hiding on the archipelago. In 1986, following an investigation, the intel led to the capture and conviction of a major spy ring. Later, when the supply submarine arrives at the rendezvous the rendezvous point. The vehicle and the crew were involved in an unfortunate accident. Operation Harpoon was promptly suspended. A pair of binoculars used by an agent on the Auroran archipelago. Base's closure. With the Berlin Wall collapse in 1989 and the dissolution of the USSR in 1991, the Cold War effectively ended, and in the absence of an enemy, the American government asked the Pentagon to reduce its budget accordingly. One of the measures taken was the closure of several bases, particularly those built outside the USA. Thus, in 1996, the Aurora base was demilitarized and closed, with the site's equipment dismantled and shipped to the USA. By the end of 1996, the Auroran archipelago was once again deserted, but not for long. Several former soldiers who remembered this paradisical archipelago decided to settle there illegally, though the Pentagon still held a lease for the area and no one cared about these lost islands in the South Pacific anymore. Why not auction this lease? Archipelago for sale. This is an audio one. I don't know if I'll play it for you guys. I think you can hear it. Okay, I can't seem to get it to play. Sorry about that. But anyway, you might have to go into your own game to look at these ones, or I'll actually you know what? I'll work out how to do it, and I'll make another video of all the audio ones. Now we're on to all of the drones and stuff. So we start off with the Stolas, custom designed killing machines called by Azrael. Okay, these are the little ones, the ones that aren't that annoying. Legion, I don't actually know this one. Legion drones are designed to scan and protect country borders. It's a lethal derivative of the Skell Pollinator. Is that the ones that like swarm anything entering or leaving? Because I don't think I've seen them around. Incubus, designed to experiment this drone's archetype in all the possible conditions. It is a training model used in all Skell test areas, mountain, jungle, fate cities, and for wolves to learn to fight alongside drones. Okay, so this is one. This is a yellow one with a machine gun and a grenade launcher, I think. So we'll just see. I don't know if this. I don't think this one has mortars. It doesn't. Yeah, heavy machine gun and grenade launcher. Andreas. This is. Yeah, another heavy machine gun and grenade launcher. Custom designed killing machines, works in combination with Stolas drones. So Incubus and Andreas aren't too different. Murmur. I think these are the really annoying ones, which like weave about the place. You can't hit them easily. Fly in a pack. Yeah. Fly in a pack defends a specific area to attack any individual that's not listed in their system. Yeah, I know these ones. They want SMG. Aim. The aim is designed to guard wolves. Camp works in combination with Malfast drones. HMG and grenade launcher. They all seem to just have an HMG and grenade launcher, though I don't think I've ever been hit by one of these things' grenades. I don't know. I didn't even realise they shoot grenades until I looked through some of this. So yeah, in terms of the, and then you've got in terms of the land drones, you've got Incubus, Andreas, AIM, and then Amon, whatever it's called. That one hasn't come up yet. Anyway, Azrael. Designed to scan terrain from the sky, alert Stolas and Andras drones and guide them to targets. Yeah, I know this one. They're annoying. You just have to lie down randomly because they come above. Or you can just have a little quick fight because they see you. Anyway, Behemoth. Behemoth's been done to roam isolated wild areas with an almost endless autonomy and to protect strategic scale infrastructures. It can eradicate any threat with its fearsome firepower. These ones, they're pretty annoying to fight. It's basically like some budget version of Horizon Zero Dawn, where you've got to shoot batteries off and shit. Anyway, City Cherubim, designed to patrol city streets. Its main function is to scan IDs, record street activity, and trigger alerts if it detects infractions. Civilians can interact with its FEI interface to receive official information from the island network. It's basically like little police robots. Skell Farmer. Skell Farmer is an autonomous vehicle designed to deliver high tractive effort at slow speeds for agricultural purposes. Okay, so it's a combine harvester. An autonomous combine harvester. Okay, World 2.0 Hall of Fame. Okay, that's just an item. Not interesting. Sky Cherubim, designed to oversee cities from the sky. Its main function is to scan IDs. Yeah, these ones are the little ones that fly in the sky and send an alert if they see you. Malfas. Oh, I think these ones might be the ones that weave everywhere and annoy the hell out of me. Superior flying combat drone designed to guard wolves camps. Yeah, I hate these ones. They're so annoying because they weave around and it's nearly impossible to hit them. Succubus. There's so many drones and they're all annoying. I don't know which ones are the really annoying ones, but they're all annoying to an extent. Designed to experiment this drone archetype in all possible conditions. It's a training model used in all scale test areas, mounted in the jungle, fake cities, and for wars to learn to fly alongside drones. Okay. Ball. Okay, this is for a raid thingy. Prototype designed to efficiently eliminate targets in open areas. Can be airdropped to fight as a vanguard. I haven't fought one of those yet because I haven't played the raids. And then you got Gargoyle, an aerial drone prototype designed to fight against other prototypes and to train wolves. You can carry a ball to bring it to the battlefield. Okay, so this is like a flying one. That's pretty cool. Cerebrus. Drone prototype composed of 3 killer drones. Cerebrus was created through a major technological breakthrough and represents the apex of Skell Tech technology. Oh my god, this seems horrible to fight. Skell Excavator. Skell Excavator is an autonomous drone designed to search for mineral veins to collect resources from drone production. Yeah, that's just similar to the combine harvester. Another little. And then you've got Tree Mower. Tree Mower is an autonomous drone designed for mowing and mulching trees for deforestation purposes. So basically, yeah, they've got automated farming. Skell Handy is a fundamental Skell service drone designed for all maintenance and repair tasks. And okay, it's like a mechanic. And then you've got Skell Carry. This is like a forklift thingy. Skell Carry, a pallet jack drone, is an autonomous machine used to lift and move pallets and boxes in warehouses. What's interesting, you can actually shoot all these for some little resources, but there's not much point because I never really found a use for the resources. Now you've got Skell Transporter. Is a delivery drone designed to transport packages, food, and other goods automatically to the destination. These things are really funny. It's like literally just shoot them down every time you see them, you just get free stuff. Skell Doctor. The Skell Doctor is a delivery drone, custom designed to deliver sensitive medical supplies. I don't know if I've ever seen one of these. I don't know if they appear on the map. I might have seen one, but I'm not sure. I don't think I do. They might be the same as these. They just have medical stuff in them. I'm not certain if they appear different. Skell Fielder. Skell Fielders are used by farmers to monitor crop growth and seeding. They are equipped with advanced sensors and digital imaging processes that can monitor soils. Okay, so yeah, more automated farming. Armon. Patrols independently to monitor and secure specific areas. They regroup and attack any individual that is not listed in the system. So this is the one with 2 machine guns, no grenade launchers. That's the one I see all over the place in a lot of bases. Skell Quantum Computer. Built on the ocean at the south of Gollum Island. This clicked off the game accidentally. Sorry about that, guys. Built on the ocean at the south of Gollum Island, the Skell Quantum Computer is probably the highest artificial intelligence ever created by mankind. It's used to create and assist the conception of the Titans. Okay. So that is it for World Lore. We've probably learned quite a bit about the game. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. We're nearly at 1,500 subscribers. If you could subscribe, that'd be great. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.